And I think I know most of you on the call. Chris, the president of the chamber, another beautiful day for us. Very grateful for that. And we're so grateful to have one of our newest members, Jordan Guadalupe, who has started a business called Soulibre that does career and leadership development, and I'm sure other things that she'll explain to you as well in this Building a Successful Mindset session. So I will turn it over to Jordan. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you all for being here. So I am a certified professional transformation coach and success mentor, and I help clients overcome limiting beliefs by helping them push past those beliefs and build an empowering mindset so they can attract success in career and business and also live happy, fulfilling lives. I do this through mindset training, and how I accomplish that is through different, kind of like more from an energy perspective. And I do this through a lot of mindfulness and meditation practices, but also some mental fitness as well. So I am going to share my screen. And can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right. I wanted to start off with a question. How are you feeling? Are you aware of how you're feeling in this very moment? And do you ever take the time throughout your day to notice how you're feeling? Well, if you could take a few seconds to notice how you're feeling right now, because how you're feeling right now is going to determine your future. I'm going to tell you a hack that I learned a long time ago that really is going to help you build that mindset, and you're going to learn about why people typically don't succeed. You're going to kind of learn a little bit about the science behind it, and then you're going to have some tools to take away that you can start using today in your daily life to help you succeed. Now, do you remember when you were a kid being full of life and vitality? Everything was exciting to you, and you know, every day was almost like a new opportunity for adventure and excitement, right? I certainly remember that when I was little. And so what happened to all that fun, excitement, and joy? Well, for me, it started in elementary school. My first grade teacher shamed me in front of the entire class for not being able to read. It was super embarrassing, obviously, for a kid that age, you know. And then to make things worse, in fourth grade, my teacher told my parents that, you know, I should stay back, be held back a year and repeat fourth grade the following year. And so naturally I thought, okay, what's wrong with me? You know, I felt stupid. And so the message I kept getting over and over again was that I'm not as smart as my peers. And so that's, you know, a lot of times we start to form beliefs as children or when anything traumatic happens. And when we have these disempowering beliefs, we kind of start to have this almost like on a loop. Your thoughts are on autopilot. And so it just becomes almost like this pattern that you can't break. And so the problem here is that when you have those limiting beliefs over and over again, you're not living for today because you're so consumed by your fears and anxieties. You're constantly thinking about the future. And so how do we get past this. I'm going to tell you how getting in tune with your energy is the solution for this. So your mind is a perceptual machine. And it filters out what's relevant based on your dominant thoughts. And those dominant thoughts, again, are going to be those beliefs you probably have. But you can't monitor your every thought. It's impossible. Every single thought that crosses your mind, you have thousands in a day. But what you can do is you can become aware of how you're feeling in any given moment. Because how you're feeling there's a direct correlation between that and the thoughts you're having. If you're having a negative thought, you're going to feel bad. If you're having a positive thought, you're going to feel good. So if you have negative thoughts over and over again, the lens you see the world with is going to change, and you're going to start seeing limitation instead of possibility. So getting in tune with how you're feeling is almost like a hack. It's an easy way to change those patterns, basically. So the first step in that process is to end self-sabotage. So what I mean by that is we all have self-sabotaging patterns, whether they're thought patterns or behavioral patterns. And these are going to stop us from succeeding. They kind of get in our way. And I often see three pretty common ones when it comes to achieving success, or not achieving success for that matter. And so I'd love for you to take a minute and kind of look at these three different groups of behaviors and thoughts, and just consider which one you feel like you relate to most here. And I'll give you a minute to look it over. Okay. If you had mostly A's, you felt like you related to A the most, that means you probably have low self-confidence. So this is somebody that might have either a poor self-image or lack of trust in oneself. So you don't trust in your abilities to be able to accomplish things. If you thought you mostly related to B, that's somebody who's rigid. And somebody who's rigid, that is definitely somebody with a fixed mindset, which means they think that their talents or their abilities are kind of fixed at birth. You were born this way and nothing's going to change it. You can't improve it. That kind of thing. So that is part of it, but it definitely goes further than that. It's also somebody who isn't open to new ideas or new ways of doing things. And that can obviously, prevent you from growth and success and things like that. And then if you mostly related to C, that's somebody with a scarcity mentality. So that's somebody who feels that opportunities and money are limited, and you have the fear that you're never going to have enough. So a lot of fears around money and things like that. So how do you end these patterns? one of the most important things in this whole process is to build mental muscle. So you can think of this as, kind of like personal training, going to the gym, but this is for your brain. So this is about having the ability to notice in the moment when you're self-sabotaging. So when you're having those thoughts that come up that kind of, stop you from moving forward towards your goal, you recognize that you're doing it in the moment, you're able to stop it, and then you're able to choose a more positive response. And so this is about taking your thoughts off autopilot. And autopilot is, again, when your thoughts are on that like constant loop. This is going to be your ability to essentially kind of take control over your mind. And the best way you can do this is to make meditation a daily practice. This is super important because having that mental muscle is an essential skill for lasting positive change. And you can build that muscle with meditation because it's that act of bringing your mind, once it's wandered, bringing it back to whatever you were focusing on, just bringing it back again and again. That's how you're building that muscle. And research has proved that people who meditate are better able to focus, they're better able to stay on task, and they're more resilient and able to bounce back from a negative outburst, for instance. And that's exactly what we want. So making meditation a daily practice is super, super important. And how many of you meditate? And have any of you tried to meditate, but you feel like, okay, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm not doing this right. And so you just decided not to stick with it. That's definitely something that happens often. And I think people just kind of make things more complicated than they need to be. And it's actually a lot more simple than that. So I would love to just walk you through a 2-minute meditation, just so we can get that practice and you can kind of get the hang of it. And I just want to make sure understand how to use this so that you can, take this with you today. So if you don't mind, I would love for you to just close your eyes for a moment. And let's begin by taking a moment to allow your body to settle into a comfortable position. Allow your spine to lift and the shoulders to soften. Begin by taking a full breath and a long breath out. Allowing the breath to settle the body and settle the mind. Feel your chest and stomach gently rising and falling with each breath. We're now going to count a few breaths silently. So on your next inhale, counting silently to yourself, 1. And as you exhale, 1. Now on the next breath, count again, 2. On the exhale, 2. Now continue counting your breath for a few more breaths. If you notice the mind is wandering, Just bring it back gently to the breath. Perhaps feeling the passage of air through your nostrils or the movement of your chest as you inhale and exhale. Now with one final breath, noticing any sensations or feelings in the body. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and return to your day. So, so how was that for everyone? Did you all kind of get the concept of it? If you didn't, you can just speak up and I can try to explain it a little better.
It was very relaxing.
Good, good, good. Yeah, and I mean, you're really just training your mind to be present. You know, you're training your mind to listen to you, and when you're doing that, you're not thinking of anything else, and your mind doesn't wander too much. So that's definitely what we want, and it's super relaxing. You're clearing your mind, you're calming your nervous system. So it's really an awesome practice. Okay. All right, so now that you know how to end self-sabotage, the next thing is to build an empowering mindset. And how we're going to do that is to elevate our feelings. And one way we can do that is with presence, being present in the moment. And so what I mean by that is, let me give you an example of a scenario I'm sure we've all been in. Have you ever either gone for a walk or gone for a drive and you get to your destination and then you have no recollection how you got there? Happens all the time, and that's because you weren't present. Your mind was somewhere else. You're probably thinking about that proposal that's due tomorrow, and so you're not noticing everything around you. And so if you did, you wouldn't be consumed with the future. So take this guy, for example. So he's going for a hike, right? I'm sure there are plenty of times you've gone for a hike and not been super present in the moment, but here he is. He's setting up his hammock, and he's probably going to kick his feet up so that he can take in all the sights around him, feel the breeze through the trees, listen to, you know, the birds chirping. So you want to be completely aware of your surroundings, and this is about savoring and using all your senses. And this doesn't have to be just nature. You know, let's say you're at work or something like that, you can notice how much you enjoy the people you work with and really just be present when you're with them, and you know, really engage in conversation, or notice how much you really love doing your job or performing certain tasks. It's just about being present and appreciating and things like that. And so, you know, this is one way you can be present. Like I said, noticing everything that you love and appreciate. That's going to lift your mood. But what if, let's say you're in a bad mood, terrible mood, maybe something happened that kind of ruined your day. How can you boost your feelings? Well, if your family makes you happy, just think of or do something that you know is guaranteed to turn things around. So if it's your family, maybe you can carry around a family photo in your wallet or something like that, so you can just look at it anytime you're feeling down. Or what if your pet is someone that can kind of turn everything around? Well, spend some time with your pet. It's almost guaranteed that, you know, it'll turn around in a matter of seconds. And if traveling is something that makes you happy, well, why don't you take a few minutes through your day to just fantasize about your next trip? If running is something that's a de-stressor for you, then step away and go for a run. And if music is something that can instantly kind of turn your mood around, then put your favorite song on. So just remember to deliberately do things that are going to make you feel good. Another thing you can do to elevate your feelings is to practice gratitude. This is something that's kind of become very popular in maybe the last 10 or 15 years, but it's a legitimate tool. It's something that is super easy to use and it's super powerful. And that's because gratitude really changes the way you think. It instills positivity and optimism and really helps you build a growth mindset. When you have feelings of gratitude, there's no way that you can have negative thoughts at the same time, because gratitude is one of the highest emotions you can possibly feel. So it's super, super powerful to use. So one thing I can recommend you do is make gratitude journaling a daily practice. So you can journal maybe in the morning about some things that you're grateful for, make it different every single day. But it's also more about considering why you're grateful for whatever you're journaling about. Because if you think of why, then it makes you feel the emotion a lot more. And as it pertains to whatever it is you're trying to achieve, you know, your professional goals, do you celebrate the small wins along the way? Let's say you get a raise at work. Are you still grateful for it, even if it's not as much as you'd hoped for? So notice all the small wins along the way, because that's not only going to keep you motivated and, you know, stick toward your goals, that also builds self-trust, which is huge. So, so you definitely want to make gratitude a daily practice. The next step is to visualize your success. This is super, super important. So what I mean by this is taking time out of your day to picture what it would be like if you already had the success that you want. What would that look like? How would you feel? How would things be different? This is going to, this also gives your subconscious messages, because when you visualize yourself doing something, for instance, the same part of your brain is activated as if you were actually doing that thing. So your brain literally doesn't know the difference between imagining something and actually doing it. So you're really building that belief. And the whole idea is that you want this to be as vivid as possible and feel as real as possible. So you want to picture yourself with whatever you desire. You want to picture yourself doing things with your desire. You want to picture having your desire. Just look at it from every angle you can. See every detail about the scenario. And I mentioned earlier about using your senses. use your senses in this. What are things you would see that would be different? What are sounds you would hear that would be different? And it's just putting you in that situation. So another thing you can do to make this even more powerful is using props. So do you remember being little and playing pretend? You know, like let's say this little guy over here, he's pretending to either be a rocket ship or an astronaut. And he's got the box so he can feel like he's in the rocket ship, and he's got the rocket on his back so he can feel like he's just ready to take off. This is exactly the same thing. So this is something you can do in your life now to really help you visualize that you've achieved what you wanted and make it feel more real. So here's an example. Let's say you own your own business, and I don't know, by next year, you want to see certain profits, like you have this exact figure in mind. Well, you can create faux financial statements on your computer, put those numbers in, maybe print it out and post it somewhere on your desk so you see it every single day. You can do the same thing with checks. If you want to raise at work, you can write yourself a check to that amount, whatever you want your paycheck to be. Again, post it somewhere where you're going to see it all the time so that that can start going in your subconscious. There's so many different things you could do. If, let's say you want to start a business and you haven't yet, for whatever reason, you're holding back, make fake business cards with your name on it and the company name and yourself as CEO, and just carry it around with you. These are all fun, simple little things you can do throughout the day, and it shouldn't feel like a chore. It's meant to feel fun. So I have a guided visualization for us today. It's going to take about 10 minutes, and I just want you to experience the power of visualization so you can see that it's going to allow you to get a super clear picture of what you want your future to look like. But you're also, again, giving your subconscious those messages. And this is something you can do on a daily basis. And the more you do it, the more it's going to feel real. Okay. So if you can just close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths, allowing your body to completely relax. Keep your attention on your breathing. And notice how your breathing welcomes relaxation. Notice and release any remaining tension in your neck, back, and legs. Now imagine yourself walking on a beautiful day, and you feel totally at peace. Notice your surroundings. Notice the colors, sounds, and smells. Make note of what this place looks like and feels like to you. You may feel a guiding presence. As you continue to walk, your current life becomes more and more distant until you can't see it at all. Continue on your walk until you realize you've magically come to the place where your future self lives. 5 years into the future. Notice what your future home looks like and get a feel of the place. Now I'd like you to bring to mind excuse me, the success you'd like to accomplish and visualize yourself having achieved the thing you want to achieve. As your future self, 5 years older than you are now, welcomes you. Notice your future self, the appearance, the energy, clothing. As you enter the home of your future self, look around. Notice the space, the colors, and smells. Your future self encourages you to sit down to have a conversation. As you gaze into your future self's eyes, get a sense of the wisdom and experience. Notice how you feel. Now you can ask some questions of your future self. What has made your life fulfilling? What are your greatest gifts? What do I need right now? What is the greatest contribution you have made over the last 5 years? Now, ask a few questions of your own and notice the answers coming into your being. Receive each response with gratitude. What's new here that you're in touch with? Sit still and gaze into your future self's eyes, taking in any additional insights you receive. As you do, your future self hands you a gift. Explore the gift and ask your future self the significance of the gift. Thank your future self and leave the house and prepare to make your journey home. As you head back, notice everything around you and take the time to cherish any new insights. As you return to your starting point, express gratitude for this magical journey. Now you can take a deep breath and slowly come back from this visualization. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to write down any key insights you learned that you might want to remember. Right. So what stood out the most for you in that experience? Does anybody want to share?
I'll share. Oh, sorry. Camera's over here, big screen's over here. Um, yeah, I think when you talk about practicing presence, but yet then through the exercise, we're going 5 years in the future. And I think that's something that I don't do. I think I'm pretty okay about being present. Maybe obviously not in every moment, but I don't tend to have like visioning around, my life 5 years from now. So that was really interesting because I was like, what am I doing? What is my life like? How does my house look? Does it look exactly the same? As you said to go into our house, I'm like, wow, nothing's changed. So yeah, it definitely made me think to kind of really try to vision that 5 years and vision, because it goes by so fast. And before you know it, it's gone by. And so to spend a moment thinking about what do I want to have had transpired over these 5 years, and really kind of try to take note of that so that I can focus on those things and not just let time fly by.
I love that. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's really about intentionally creating your future, consciously creating it rather than letting things just happen. And it's also training your brain to think about what you do want things to look like, rather than obsessing about, what you're worried it will be like, so yeah, it's powerful in a lot of different ways. So I would really recommend using this daily. I mean, at the end of the day, this is kind of daydreaming, and you're allowed to do that. Do it for 5 to 10 minutes a day, so you can get a clear picture of what it is you want. You can also kind of build belief that it is possible for you. Hey, This is the last step of the process, believing it is possible. This is going to be the toughest one for you to probably master, and it's completely normal, because how can you believe something that you can't even see, you know, especially if you have big goals that maybe are completely out of your comfort zone or you don't feel are realistic? How do you believe something that you can't see? Sometimes it's not so much about learning something new as it is dropping old habits. So this is really about surrendering your expectations of the outcome and letting go of control of the way you think things should play out. So it means letting go of timelines and letting go of the route to your destination. So it's letting go of control of all the little details that we obsess about that really don't matter. Like, I should achieve this goal by this date. Well, who said? Why, you know, why are you putting a timeline on it or comparing yourself to others? And a lot of times we get obsessed with the, you know, as I said, the route to the destination. You think maybe your path should go a certain way, and there are these steps that should happen, and this is the only way that this goal can be accomplished. Well, that's not true. You need to be open-minded and flexible. So it's about letting go of those expectations, because all they are burdens to you. And another thing that you can do to help build belief that your goals can happen is to feel like they already have happened and feel like you already are successful. So it's about understanding what would be different had this thing already happened. So think back to the visualization we just did. Your future self has already achieved all of the things that you want to. Well, how did they carry themselves differently? What was their energy and demeanor like? How did their life look different? You kind of got a feel of the house and things like that. What was different in their life than your life in this current moment? Because if you had achieved whatever it is that you want to achieve, you probably feel happy and excited all the time. If you had all the money that you wanted, you would probably feel more relaxed and you wouldn't be concerned about paying bills and things like that. Or your lifestyle would be different. So there would be things that you would do throughout your day that would be different than they are now. So it's about feeling the way you would feel had these things already happened, and changing some of your habits so that you act the way that you would had you already achieved this thing. And I'm not talking about, you know, going out and spending, you know, 10 grand on something because you're imagining yourself being a millionaire, but it's just about little tweaks, because the little tweaks really do make a big difference. Okay. So to wrap things up, I want to give you an example of how I took all of these tools to kind of turn a situation that, you know, anybody could have perceived as a failure, and turned it around into more of a success. So you can kind of see, you can get a better idea of how you can incorporate these practices into your daily life. So many years ago, I was laid off from a job, and this was early in my career. So at the time, I wasn't making a ton of money. And So when I got my first unemployment check, I was just shocked, because how could I pay my bills with 300 and change a week? I had rent to pay, I had a car payment, and I had literally just got a puppy a few weeks before that. So has anybody been in this situation before? Can you relate? Of course it's stressful. How can you not be stressed when there's so much to stress about, right? But I didn't. Instead, I decided to keep it cool. And so I would set my alarm clock for the same time as I would if I were getting up for work every day. I didn't change that so that I had the same schedule. Everything was business as usual. So I would get up in the morning, I would have breakfast, and then I would get right to my desk to work, which evolved looking for a new job. And I went into it optimistically because why would I worry if I knew everything would work out and I would get a new job soon? So I'd apply for jobs for a couple hours, well, probably a few hours, pretty consistently. And then I would just step away for the rest of the day and focus on my mental and emotional well-being. I would practice gratitude every day. I would meditate, and I would do things to intentionally boost my mood during this stressful time. So I would spend a couple hours hanging out with my puppy. They're, like I said, one of the easiest ways to feel good is to spend time with the pet. So I would do that for hours. You'd make me laugh. I would take him for long walks to the park, and that would just not only bring me joy, but it would really make me feel at peace. So I made a conscious effort to feel good. And so one day when I was applying for jobs, I came across this job posting that it really appealed to me. Everything about it, the industry, the location, the job responsibilities. So I saw it and I was just like, this is the one I have to have. So I applied for the job, and then I stopped applying for jobs. Why? Because I knew I needed to believe that that job was mine. And if I had that job, then why would I continue to apply for other jobs? So I did that. And then I would carry on, the same way as usual, just making sure I feel good, enjoying the time that I actually had off and had to myself. I would live for the day, I would be present. And I also started to shop for outfits for interviews because I knew that I was going to get that call one day. So I got the call, and I did go in for an interview. And of course, everything went well. I was prepared. I got along with everyone. The whole thing went great. So I left the interview, and I was grateful for having the interview, grateful that I even found that job posting at all. So I was just grateful for the whole experience. And then I continued to visualize myself as an employee there. Now I knew what the space looked like. I knew what some of the people looked like. Of course, I had met a couple of the employees that interviewed me. So I could really picture myself as an employee in that space, interacting with coworkers. And so I really started doing that pretty regularly. Well, then I guess it's no surprise that I received an offer letter and I got the job. And it was awesome. It was a dream job at the time, and I was only unemployed for 2 months. So I really, really did a great job of harnessing all these tools. So what did you notice that I did in that situation to help myself succeed?
believed you would get the job and visualized it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
didn't.
did everything I could to, I'm sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, that's fine. I was just gonna say that, you didn't allow like the negative, thoughts to come in, that, the worry that you were never gonna find anything and those kind of barriers to come in to your thoughts.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. I was able to stop that self-sabotage. I visualized, I deliberately did things to make myself feel good, things that made me happy, and I also practiced gratitude. Yeah, all of those things together are super, super, super powerful. Lisa, I saw that you had your hand raised.
Yes, I was wondering, is that similar to like the laws of attraction?
Yeah, it is. It is actually. A lot of this does really come from that. I don't always present it in that way, just because I know a lot of people maybe aren't too sure about that or aren't open to it. But the fact is, there's so much overlap with that and psychology. So it just depends on how you want to look at it. But the same thing is really happening, the same result. So whether you look at it from a science perspective or the law of attraction, really, it is all the same. So yes. So if that's something you do practice, definitely continue to do that. But a lot of these things do come from that. The ending self-sabotage is part of mental fitness training. So it's definitely a combination of both of them that I use. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't practice it, but I have heard of it and it just sounded very similar. I did have a question about the about meditation.
Sure.
I know for myself, I've tried it a few times and it does make me feel relaxed. But I was wondering, I know you said it helps you focus, but what are some of the other benefits of meditating?
It helps clear your mind. So so you're in the present moment, you're not focused on the future, you're not worrying. It also calms your nervous system. So let's say you're worked up about something or frazzled, and you're not only worrying about something, but you also have those physical sensations of anxiety that can calm your nervous system. And it also helps you focus. So so at work, if you tend to get distracted a lot or your mind wanders, the more you practice that, the more focused you'll be, the more productive you'll be. So there are just a ton of benefits when it comes to meditation.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Okay, we're getting close to 11. So I just wanted to pull this slide up sort of as a quick review. And I want you to remember that these are things that you can take away today to start practicing to help you build that mindset. So making gratitude, meditation, and visualization a daily practice. Letting go of the burden of your expectations. And be as you would had you already achieved success. So if you can just remember these things and try to remember to practice them daily, I can almost promise you things will change in a positive way in your life. So if I could just leave you with one thing, it would be that every day is a new opportunity for change. And on any one given day, you can change your future simply by being in tune with your energy and changing the way that you feel. And here's my contact info if you want to take a screenshot of that or take a note real quick. Hey. And does anybody have any questions before we end?
just wanted to say thank you very much, Jordan. That was awesome.
Of course, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you all take something away from it.
Very helpful. Thank you. I feel so relaxed. It's going to be difficult to go back to class.
Well, now you have some tools if something happens throughout your day that stresses you out.
Exactly. I feel the same way. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Of course, anytime. If nobody else has any questions, please feel free to reach out with me at any time if you think of something, that you didn't think to ask now. I'm available, so feel free.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.